Hi, fifth grade, Miss Keeley here. I want to start out by letting you guys know that you did such a great job on the mandala project from last week. Um, you guys were so creative. You kind of went above and beyond what I was even expecting of you, and I just want to let you guys know that I thought you guys all did a really nice job. We are jumping into a new project, new topic this week, all about movement and rhythm in art. Um, a lot of times, or at least when I think back to when I was your age, if someone told me that art has movement, I wouldn't really believe them because whenever I think of like art, I think of paintings, drawings, statues, sculptures, and those are just kind of like stationary objects that don't move. When I think of movement, I think of more like animation, movies, TV shows, people running, cars driving, things that actually are moving. Um, but as I grew up, I was proved wrong and introduced to the fact that art actually has movement to it. And it's in a different way than what I just described. But anyway, so I'm going to show you guys this page here. Um, and so it says movement and rhythm in art is when a work of art gives the illusion that it is moving. It has direction to it and a sense of repetition. So that's like the main thing is like it gives you the illusion because obviously artwork doesn't move unless you design it that way where it's like on a motor or wind is blowing it or um, something of that sort. But it rather if it's like a drawing or painting, you can draw it in a way to give it the illusion that it's moving. So for example, these trees over here, they're all kind of just like bending over in the same direction. Even the grass and flowers are kind of moving in that direction. Um, so when I look at it, I can kind of use some deduction and clues that maybe it's windy and the wind is kind of blowing it over, and it gives that sense of illusion. When it talks about rhythm, um, you guys probably know more than rhythm than I do because rhythm is something that you learn in music, and you guys have been taking music for a really long time now. Um, Rhythm is like a repetition of something, like so like repeating a beat again and again, so it creates a nice rhythm to it. So same in art, it's just kind of repeating something again and again. So if you look down here, we have these cow heads that are repeated again and again. We have these birds that slowly um, transform into fish. And because of that repetition and repeating of it, it kind of gives it a sense of moving in that direction. Okay. Um, and so what I just want to show you here is I'm going to show you a couple different ones. But so looking at this, these are two very similar paintings. They are both of golden retrievers. They both have a blue background. One of them looks like it's showing movement, and one of them does not. I'm sure you guys can tell which one is and which is not, but what I want you to do is think about like the way that the artist drew it or painted it, um, to really make it look like it was moving, or vice versa, how it looks like it's just standing still, not moving. Okay. Here is another example. One of them looks like it's moving, one of them does not. Think about how the artist drew it to show that. Okay, what different techniques. And again, I don't necessarily want to tell you, I want you to think about it on your own. And then here's the last one. Two similar topics, two horses. One looks like it's moving, one of them does not. Okay. And then just relating it to famous art that you have probably seen before in my class or just like anywhere because they're very famous. First one is Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night. So he incorporates a lot of those elements of art into his artwork. Um, but so this one, he uses a lot of dashed lines and repetitive marks. He also gives it a sense of direction. So it's starting over on this side of his canvas and kind of working its way over across. And it gives the illusion that it's maybe a windy, blustery night. Maybe it's snow that's being kind of whipped around in the sky. And all these little dash marks give it that sense that it's actually moving. And the way that he drew this tree or bush, whatever we want to call it, It doesn't look like it's just like sitting there in their yard. It looks like maybe it's like got a little bit of move, the wind is blowing through it and whatnot. I am going to attach a video of this Starry Night painting being brought to life, and you can actually see how it's moving in the video, and it's really cool. And then another one is Hokuzai's wave painting. So if you think about water, water is something that's constantly moving. But I'm sure you've seen water before that does not show movement. So if you ever see a pool that no one's swimming in and it's just very still water, um, that's a good example. Or like a really still lake or a pond that there's nothing really in, it's really flat. So that would be like it's not moving. Obviously you can tell because there's nothing going on in it. But then obviously if you were to look at this wave painting, we know if you see a huge wave that is this tall, kind of has this curl to it, you know that it's about to come crashing down. So it gives you that sense that this is actually kind of moving. All right. So what we are going to do this week for we're going to start our project. It might take us 3 steps, maybe 2. It's kind of a quicker one, similar to the mandala project where it's not too lengthy. But so you are going to need a piece of white paper, a pencil, a ruler if you have one. I did not have one. I just had like a really mini one, so I'm using a piece of cardboard. Just so you need something with like a straight edge just to make your life a lot easier. And then a black marker. You can use kind of what you want. If you have a Sharpie, black marker. I'm just using a little black Crayola marker. And so what we're going to be making is a checkered board. So if you have a ruler, you could be pretty precise and measure it out evenly. I'm not looking for anything too measured out perfectly, but we do want to try to make as best as we can kind of like even boxes. So what you're going to do is you are going to hold your paper kind of horizontal this way, and then your ruler will go vertical up and down. And you're just trying to make vertical lines all the way across your paper, okay? And try to space them out as best as you can. Like I said, it's not the easiest using a piece of cardboard or whatever you're using, but if you have a ruler, maybe you just use the width of your ruler for it. And so just keep going across, and then you are going to, I'm going to go back here. You're going to then turn your paper vertical, up and down, the tall way. And then same thing, you're gonna take your ruler and now you're still doing vertical lines, and you should be making little boxes, okay? And you can honestly make them however size you want. If you want them to be really big boxes, that's totally fine with me. I will say, try not to do any smaller than what I have. I mean, you can if you want to, but we're going to be coloring this in as a checkered board. So if you do really tiny boxes, you're going to have to be responsible for coloring in all those tiny little boxes. So it's up to you on how you want yours to look, okay? So yeah, I'm just going to fast forward this. And again, I'm taking my time to make sure it's kind of neat and even as possible. I will say, like, over in this area, it did get a little bit thin, which is totally fine. And so if you've never made a checkered board before, and I'll give you guys a choice. If you want to do it like black and white like I'm going to do, go for it. Awesome. If you want to give yours a little bit of a different look to it and you want to pick 2 color markers, maybe you do like a red and blue checkerboard or pink and purple, whatever you want. That's totally fine with you, or fine with me. What am I trying to say here? If you do pick 2 colors, then you're going to be responsible for coloring every single box. But again, that will be up to you. And we're going to break up this coloring into 2 parts because it's kind of a lot to color all of this. So if you do not know how to make a checkerboard, what you are doing is I suggest in the top left corner, you're coloring in the first square, skip a square, leave it blank, and then you are coloring in the next one. I like to outline it first to give it a border and edge, so that way it helps me stay inside the lines better. That way I'm not going into the other sections. And then you just keep repeating. You keep skipping, drawing another one, skipping, drawing another one. Please take your time coloring. Try your best to go in the same direction. I'm sure most of you know that marker leaves a lot of marks. Like you can actually see the marker um, lines that it leaves. So try your best to go in the same direction to make it the neatest. Um, there are a few of my boxes where I do get a little bit lazy and I change my direction. Um, but yeah, so as I progress on, the next row, you'll leave the first one empty, fill in the second one. Uh, you like something to always like keep in mind is you should never have um, like two colored ones next the same color next to each other. So it should always kind of be going on this diagonal pattern. I'm going to keep fast forwarding because this is very time consuming. So that's why I'm breaking this down into two parts. So um, at the end, you can have the choice. So I'm stopping here. I did more than half of my project, but this is a lot. This took me about 10 minutes, so that's why I'm only having you guys do half for this week, and then we'll pick up next week, do the second half, and then a little bit more of the project. But you can have the choice. If you want to keep finishing it and keep doing the checkerboard, go for it. But I'm only going to be asking for you to do like half of the coloring this week. Okay? Because this is the first step, I do not need to see a picture posted. Of course, if you want to take one and submit it, I like seeing it. It helps me kind of keep track of where people are at, but it's not mandatory until the very end. So yeah, this is going to be it for this week, and then next week we will pick it up. All right. Have fun, and I will chat with you guys next week. Bye.